Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up that screen. Ah, yes, Aitx, A to the I to the T to the X. They got a huge order that's expected to come in. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about if ATX is getting to a buy point or not. And let's talk about artificial intelligence. All right, the first thing we're going to talk about is obviously the order that they're expecting. It's going to be the largest unit order in its history. And today, RAD announced they've got a minimum of 37 RAD devices they're expecting to receive an order on through an authorized dealer. As you know, they have dozens of dealers that sell their units, and they sell them themselves as well. Not being identified at this time due to a NDA, non-disclosure agreement. The orders for a minimum of 37 units, which are a mix of Rosa, which is their best-selling unit, and Ava security robots. It says the end user is a global leader in the transportation manufacturing industry with a presence in over 60 countries. So this could be great. It says the devices will be used at 5 of the end user's manufacturing, service, and distribution centers. It says the end user is going through a modernization of their entire guarding and security profile. And let's talk about that. What that means is they're tired of paying a ton of payroll for security guards when now they have the option of AI, artificial intelligence. And it's a lot cheaper to buy a unit and to pay somebody. That's just what it boils down to. They're going to save a ton of money. And that's where security is headed. And it's also very hard to hire anybody because nobody wants to do the jobs anymore. Ever since the Rona, people just aren't willing to work like they used to. So if you can get a machine that'll work 24/7 and never calls out and never complains and never asks for a raise, it's understandable. It said Mark Fulmer, who's the president of RAD, says the impetus for corporate end users to fill unfillable human roles while reducing cost is increasing in urgency. The order is expected to save the client millions of dollars a year while improving their safety and security profile. It also reduces their liability. Said Steve Reinhardt said, I expect these types of multi-unit sale announcements to be more frequent to the point they become the regular order of business. We're moving corporate clients from unattainable guards to robots and saving them money in the process. It's just that simple. And here it says, end users can expect to realize savings of up to 90% in the first year and 95% in subsequent years. As somebody that used to be an operations manager and was a CEO of a couple of companies, that would interest the crap out of me. I mean, save 90% in security. And I used to run a golf course. I had 2 security guards and I had to have them. You know, I had 200 acres I was watching over. If I could have had some AI, what I'd rather had instead of 2 was 1, and then put these devices in several places on the golf course, including the clubhouse, and just let them sit in one spot and watch. Now, granted, that's a little different than AI, but that's how I'd have done it because, like I say, 200 acres, the damage could be done so quickly. I would still wanted a human being there, but I could have saved a bunch of money by having 1 instead of 2. It says this one order facilitated through one of our favorite dealers solidifies RAD's footprint in the logistics and heavy manufacturing industries with multi-site, multi-unit, mixed-use deployments of Rosa and Avas. It becomes our second logistics client with over 30 units. So it's coming along. The nice thing about the Rosas, they can be deployed in 15 minutes, and all you got to do is have power there. I mean, they'll handle all the communications and everything else. It's all built in. So this is exciting. There's a couple things that I've been talking about with AITX. And as you know, I've owned AITX 3 times. I've sold out all 3 times. And it's because of 2 reasons. Number one, they need higher revenues. This will help. This is the type of thing that will help that. The second issue is I want them to have more cash on hand on their balance sheet. We're going to get into that in a minute. But they're starting to solve that first problem, which is the revenue's got to go up. So let's look at that. As you can see right here in their last P&L quarter, they took in $1.4 million. So that was up year over year by about 400%. So it was a huge increase. But the problem is their general administrative costs went from $2.7 million to $10.9 million. So they're losing quite a bit of money. So this number's got to go up a lot. They've got a real nice gross margin. As you can see, you know, it's software as a service. Granted, they do have a product they're selling as well, but their gross margin is pretty good. But again, you know, their overhead is high because what they've done is they built it. They've sort of done they've sort of done this.
Ray, people will come, Ray.
Yeah, they've sort of done build it and they will come, which is, it's risky, but it's understandable. I'm sure there are some sleepless nights for Steve Reinhardt's during this process because, he's hired 80 people. And let's understand the employees at RAD and Aitx, these are not minimum wage folks.
Hi. Could you, get less stuff?
Just get it.
Yeah, they're not, like I say, they're not minimum wage. These folks are highly skilled and they get paid accordingly. So that's one issue that needs to be solved. And it sounds like they're working towards that. But the bigger issue, and I realize, this is a brand new company pretty much. They're just starting to get their sales going in a brand new sector. I really like the sector because what they're doing, it can be very profitable over time, but they need money to get to that point. And when we look at their balance sheet, they're showing $4 million in cash. And granted, this has probably changed since this, obviously. But I want to see this company with at least 20, and I'd like to see them with at least 40 million. Would be much more comfortable for me, but 20 million at an absolute minimum is what I'd like to see on their balance sheet. And like I said, I'd feel 100 times better at 40. The other issue is this. Their outstanding shares are sitting at 4.89 billion. So they have sold some shares, obviously. And I know they sell it through I think it's an S1. I basically sell to a company at 90 cents on the dollar, and then that company sells it on the open market. And so they get cash in a lump sum, and then that company makes their 10%, or if it goes up, they make more. But their authorized shares are sitting at 5 billion, so they're reaching the ceiling on this. Now, there are many ways they can raise money, many ways, and I know they obviously will. I mean, heck, they're not going to sit there and stop. So, they could increase the authorized shares. They could take out a loan. They could do lots of different things, but I want to know what that's going to be. So the stock itself, and let me extend this. It's sitting, well, wait a minute. It's sitting right here on support at around 1.5 cents, right there, 1.5 cents. So it's just sitting above. It's been sort of guiding along there the whole time on that support. And it has dropped below that. At one point it went down to a penny, but it's pulled back up and gotten into this area. But for me to be comfortable to add a long position, like I said, I would need to see that balance sheet improve. But I could see somebody swing trading this without too much trouble with big orders coming in. That would be enough to make it bump. And actually it went up 7% yesterday, which is pretty impressive given the terrible news that we got. First of all, we came in at 8.6% inflation. They were expecting 8.2 to 8.3, so it's higher than they thought. Gas prices are through the roof, skyrocketing, and I don't see anything happening in Washington that's going to do anything about that. I don't even know if maybe that's part of the plan. Who knows? So I don't see anything happening with our leadership to do anything about gas prices. I think they're here to stay for quite a while. So I just, that's just being blunt. So as long as gas prices are sky high, we're going to have high inflation. It's a vicious cycle that just goes around. And the other big problem that inflation is causing is this. And this is even more important than the inflation. When you look at the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, and this is what folks on Wall Street look at hard. Okay, this is a very important number. It's down at the lowest level in history. Okay, 50.2. It's never been that low, and they've been watching this thing for about 50 years almost. So the lowest point ever. Think about all the things we've been through, even the Rona and all that. It's never been this low, 50. I mean, it should be up about 100. So really, this is a major problem, and this is bad for all companies out there. It's why we had a big dip. It dropped to 800 points Friday and 600 Thursday. So while I think this order is fantastic, and I really have one thing to say about this order.
All right.
All right, I know that's three things, but anyway, I'm very excited for Aitx to get that big order. I think they're going to have a bunch of those over time. I don't see 90% savings. Think about that. You're running a company or you're operations manager, and you're looking to modernize, and here's a way to save 90 cents on a dollar in your security and all of that. You can take that to the CEO or to the board, and they're going to be like, heck yeah, let's do that. And oh, by the way, the liability's lower. So I can see this working out over time, but like I said, I just want to see more money on that balance sheet before I personally buy this stock. But I'm watching it, I can tell you that, and I'm happy about this order. I root for this company hard. I just, in this environment, I'm going to be careful. So that's where I'm at. But like I say, it's your money. You do as you please. But this is great news, and I can understand the AITX community being excited about it, and they should be. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover AITX. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd certainly appreciate it. And I hope you did like the content. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.